Let's make something boo-tiful. Hey there, and welcome to the Totally Fierce Crochet channel. My name's Thomas, and I'm probably a bit late, but Halloween season is in full mode right now, and I thought, why not make a little something for your trick-or-treating? Last year, I introduced you to this beautiful skull pattern, and I was like, how can I use this again other than in a doily, my beautiful granny square doilies? And so I thought I would just create a beautiful filet crochet tote bag that I call the Scully tote bag. It works up super fast from the bottom to the handles all in one go. How awesome is that? It's big and bold and oh so beautiful. And I even lined it, and you can put so many things in it, and I will most probably not only going to use this for Halloween, but for even afterwards and probably all year, because this turned out so super awesome and I'm absolutely in love with it, and I hope you love it too. And if you want to have a similar bag, but maybe for Christmas, tell me in the comments. So let me show you how to make this beautiful Scully tote bag. And here's what you need to make yourself the Scully tote bag. First up, the yarn. I used rainbow cotton and Friends cotton from Hobbii. Both are 8/6 quality in the color white. Of course, you can choose whatever color you like, but I would definitely recommend you to use cotton yarn because this, in my opinion, is the best choice for bags. As a crochet hook, I'm going to use a 4mm hook. Probably can't see it, but it's a 4mm. Then, of course, some scissors and a tapestry needle or yarn needle. But most importantly, make sure to download the PDF in the description, where you will not only find the full written pattern of the entire bag from start to finish, but also the visual or the filet crochet pattern to create the beautiful skull visual or design, and where you can also easily see the double crochets and chains you have to make. You will get it, of course, for right-handed and for lefties like myself. And with that, you have everything you need, and we are good to go. Before we start with the skull visual, we are first going to make the bottom of our bag, and we will start with an I-cord. So I took aside a little bit of yarn and then start with a slip knot. And now we make the I-cord with 59 I-cord stitches. And this goes as follows. You wrap the yarn that you took to the side from the front, and then you take the yarn that goes to your yarn ball and wrap it around from the back, and then pull this last loop through the 2 loops on your hook, and then again the yarn from the side, the yarn from the yarn ball, and pull it through. Again, the yarn from the side from the front, and the other yarn from the back, and then pull that last loop through. Now I have made 3 I-cord stitches, and I will do this until I have 59. And here we go, 59 I-cord stitches. And now we are going to work around the I-cord, and we will do this with double crochets. So first, to start, we are going to make a stacked single crochet into the same stitch where we are, and like that we can also incorporate the yarn end, and then you go in, yarn over, pull the yarn through, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, and grab that vertical bar in the front, yarn over, pull it through, and yarn over, pull through, to make a stacked single crochet, or how I love to call them, a fake double crochet. And now we continue along from I-cord stitch to I-cord stitch. And this is also why the I-cord stitch, in my opinion, works the best as a base, because when you drag it, you already see the hole where to put the hook in. And then you can easily place stitches from both sides without any fiddly chains, but feel free to make it your way. I just continue with the I-cord, and I will now just go along and make double crochets in each of those stitches until I reach the very last stitch, and this is where I'll meet you back. And I made it to the end. Now we will place 2 more double crochets into that last stitch. So yarn over, go in that last stitch and pull the yarn through. This stitch is usually super tight, but I know you can do it. This was the second, and now let's place a third one in there. Like that. You can still keep the yarn end over your work, and then we can continue 1 double crochet into each of the following stitches. This should be 58 if I'm correct, because we already placed the 3 stitches in the last stitch. And here we go. Now the only thing left to close the round would be to place 1 last double crochet into the same stitch. And now we have 120 stitches across. And to close the round, we will just slip stitch into the top of our very first stitch, which was the stacked single crochet. And like that, we already have the first round of our bag foundation done. And we can continue. There will be 2 more foundation rounds before we start with the visual. And they are super easy. It's all double crochets, and the first stitch is always the stacked single crochet. So you start in the same stitch first with a single crochet, and then go in the vertical bar, yarn over, pull through, and make the stacked single crochet to start your round of 120 stitches. And then we move along, and if you place a new stitch over a double crochet, and this goes also later on for the visual part, make sure to not only go under the 2 loops at the top, always make sure to go a little bit lower and grab that 3rd loop here from the back. This will later on help you to align all the stitches perfectly together. So remember, not only the top 2 loops, but try to insert the hook a little bit lower. And personally, I think when you then push on the hook a little bit, it already goes through that 3rd loop in the back. And like that, your stitches will align perfectly on top of each other. And you can do this all the time when you place a double crochet on top of a previous double crochet. And now we just make 2 full rounds of double crochets before we can then start with the visual. Now the 3 rounds of the bottom of our bag are done, and we can now continue with the visual. And to start, of course, you will see here the stitch count, and we are always going to work the same row twice. So one side is then later on the front panel of your bag, and the other side is the back panel of your work. And you can always use the little symbols to identify how many stitches you need for the round. And let's start with the first one. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 double crochet symbols here. And the first one is, of course, a stacked single crochet. So we start each round with a stacked single crochet. So you go back into your first stitch and make a stacked single crochet. And then we make 6 more double crochets. Here we go. The stacked single crochet and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so 7 stitches in total. And then we have basically 3 blank squares, and those work the same throughout the entire pattern. It's always chain 1 and skip 1 stitch at the bottom, and then continue with a double crochet in the next stitch. So again, chain 1, skip 1, yarn over, and place the next double crochet in the stitch after that. And like that, you also get the square in front of your work. So you can always check back with the pattern or the visual where you are. I think like this, it works super easy. It's like drawing with colors where you would just like fill in the spaces where you have the color number in it. And we continue. We need 3 of those squares. So chain 1, skip 1 stitch at the bottom, and insert into the next. And then again, chain 1 and yarn over and make the next double crochet. And here we now have the exact same 3 squares like we had it here. And now comes a section with a lot of full squares, because when you then take also the middle double crochet in it, it's always a full square. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So 15 double crochets, and the first one is already there, because when you have those squares, the first and the last stitch are always basically the same, and this in the end creates the filet crochet pattern, the mesh pattern if you want to. So those were my 15 double crochets, and then again 3 blank squares, chain 1, skip 1 stitch, and double crochet in the stitch after that, chain 1, skip 1, and here we go. And this is basically all there is. You just continue round by round, and always remember to make each of the rows twice, in the front and in the back, and just go along the 120 stitches for each round. If at some point you reach a spot like here, for example, where there's a full square on top of a blank square, you then work the middle double crochet or the second double crochet in the chain element, and make sure to go under both of the loops, because this will later on also enhance the visibility of the pattern. And everything else, it's the same: full squares, blank squares, chain 1, double crochet, or all double crochets, all according to the visual. And I will meet you once I have finished the 35th round of the visual to show you how to make the handles. Have fun, enjoy it. So I just finished the last round of the part with the visual. Of course, you can barely see something, maybe if I lift it up, and you get like the different skulls. You can always test your work, for example, by putting in something like that, so you can see the design and the visual. I think it looks absolutely super cool. But now let's continue with the top part and the handles. And from now on, we are going to switch to single crochets instead of double crochets. And to start the top part and the handles, we are going to make 19 single crochets first in the first 19 stitches, and then we start the handles. So we go back into our very first stitch, yarn over, pull it through, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through both of them to make a single crochet, and then we go along 18 more single crochets. Here we go, 19 single crochets. And for better orientation, we are just one line of squares after the first skull image. And when we reattach the handle, we will do the exact same thing on the other side. So one column of the typical filet crochet squares, we are going to attach the handle right here. But first, we have to make a chain of 60 for the handle. Of course, you can be flexible, make them shorter, make them longer. You can also later on make them wider, just as you want to. I'm going to go with 60. So yarn over, pull through, chain 1, 2, and here's the chain 60. And now, let's see, we go right back in here. And we will do this with a single crochet. So we are going to connect our chain. Make sure that it is not twisted, and then yarn over, pull it through, and then reconnect the handle to the back. And now we continue basically at the same place where we started, but also on the other side. So we are going to make single crochets. And here's our last one. So exactly the same position like we had it before. And then again, chain 60. And then again, we reattach right here with a single crochet. And now we have both handles, or the base of the two handles. And we continue with single crochets until the end of the round. And of course, we close the round with a slip stitch in the very first stitch. And now to move on, we are going to make single crochets in each of the stitches and also in the chain elements of our handle. But we are also going to decrease on each side of the handle, first here on the chain and here after the chain on both sides. So our stitch count reduces by 4 in each of the following rounds. But of course, I'll show you. First, we make single crochets until we reach the very first handle. And this was the last stitch before the handle starts. And now we are going to skip this very first chain element here from the chain, and we will just continue with single crochets starting from the second chain element. And I will just also go right in there, one loop under my hook and 2 loops over my hook, and this is where I will continue with the single crochets. That way we can now go up to give the handle a little bit of shape. And our handles were made with a chain of 60, and now we have 59 single crochets along the handle. And now I'm at the end of the handle. Make sure to grab the last chain element, because this is usually a little bit hidden or a bit shorter than the other ones. And now we are going to skip the very first single crochet that we made here to attach the handle, and we will just continue in the second single crochet again with single crochets. So every time we reach the handle, we are going to skip the first stitch on the handle, and once we reach the end of the handle, we are just going to go into the second stitch after that and not the first one. And of course, we will do this always for both handles. And after that, you just repeat this last round 2 more times. So you have 4 rounds of single crochets, and then we can finish the bag. And this was it. We can now finish it by cutting the yarn. And then I will just pull the yarn through, take the tapestry needle, and we are now going to finish the bag, of course, with an invisible finish. And for that, I'm not going into the very first stitch of the round, I'm going into the second stitch from the front with your tapestry needle and pull everything a little bit together, don't pull too tight. And now I'm going back into our last stitch from the top through the back loop, and I will also try to catch this little side loop, behind loop, call it how you want to, just to fix the yarn in a little bit more, and then pull everything together until the border looks identical with all of the stitches, and then turn your work and just work that yarn end in, a few stitches here and there. Since we had all single crochets in the previous rounds, you can always easily hide the yarn in there. Just a few stitches, and then turn and go back. You can also stab through the yarn. This will always help to keep everything locked in. Just a few stitches, and then cut it. And now basically the bag is done with the beautiful two handles. And as always with filet crochet, it definitely helps to block it. So the next step for me will be to block the bag. And after that, I'm going to add the lining. I'm not going to show you into full detail how I'm going to block and line the bag. There are a lot of videos for bag linings, and I'm going to do this super easy with a black fabric and then just sew it in. And then basically your beautiful Scully bag is complete. I can't wait. This is such a showstopper, and I already love how this looks and the effect of it just by pulling it up. It's insane. I absolutely love it. So my bag has been blocked slightly, a little bit. Then here's my lining, my little pouch, and I just sewed together two sides only and just wrapped the top in. I hope this works. I have no idea, but I'm going to find out. Now I have to put the lining, of course, into the bag. So now I attached the lining mainly only around the handles, because here on the left and on the right it doesn't really matter. I will then just later on pull that in. Maybe I'm going to start sewing somewhere here and then go around. I have no idea. But I think it will work, and I already love how beautiful this looks. I mean, I'm over the moon. So fun. And now it's time for sewing. So of course I opened it again, and I'm now doing a super simple stitch, just going all along, because with the sewing stitch from before I had the feeling that this won't work. So I will just go up and down all along, and I just hope that this will work. And here we go. The bag is finished. Here's my lining. My not so professional lining. I mean, it's not pretty, but maybe scary pretty, so it matches Halloween. Who knows? I mean, this could definitely be improved, but so far, I think I'm more than happy with how this turned out. Both sides look the same with the skull pattern. Absolutely amazing. And I hope you like it too. So, how do you like my Scully tote bag? Isn't it super easy and super fun to make? I hope you liked it. I hope you enjoyed. And of course, I hope you will make one for yourself. It's absolutely gorgeous. And I hope to see you back again next time, only at the Totally Fierce Crochet channel. Maybe from the woods, maybe from the mountains, maybe from the sea. Who can say? See you then. Happy crocheting. Bye. Check out the beautiful fall forest and the beautiful bag. Bye.